Why did the ancient Greeks praise the Hyperboreans and their culture? According to propaganda, they also ate oak for some reason. Now we know that Alexander the Great went into the Taklamakan desert of China, where he lost a third of his warriors, over 10,000 of them. He supposedly went into that desert because he was supposed to meet up with a Hyperborean who was an extraterrestrial, and that Hyperborean extraterrestrial was to give him a secret technology weapon, like something like the lightning rod of Zeus, and he was to use that in order to go back and forth in interdimensional travel. Now, so why did the ancient Greeks praise these Hyperboreans and their culture? If we read someone else's article about history so subversive that most people can't digest it, we're shocked that they have been living alive for years and no one wants to disturb their good sleep when the Vikings, who were Dorians, the same as the ancient Spartans, roamed the whole world, and in Greece, which was then called Romania, the Middle Ages and the Turkish rule prevailed, among other things. The Northern Dorians made their first iron tools, and they had remained clean of other races. In other words, they weren't intermarrying. And they were described as tall, with red and blonde hair, and the women were very beautiful as goddesses, just as they were in ancient Sparta, as we say again, the Spartans were described as having blonde hair, often red in earlier times. Bacchylides wrote that the hair of the Spartan was blonde, not black as are shown in movies, and the current descendants of then barbaric invaders in Greece who occupied, they changed the images and status from blondes to darker so that they would not stand out as they did back then. Now, have there been larger civilizations than ours? Today's technological civilization is not necessarily the superior civilization of the past. We read many times that in the past a greater civilization developed than today, and for example, this is the culture of the Hyperboreans. Some do not believe it, but superior advanced civilization does not necessarily mean technologically superior, or at least not with the current form of technology. We consider them superior simply because we have not lived in a different culture with completely different value systems. After all, technology does not only mean mastery over forms of energy in the way they are known to us today. Other fields which we have developed much less or not at all, such as the manipulation of gravity, the control of weather phenomena, which are now just being tried to be controlled, the manipulation of sound, electricity without cables, fermionic condensation, in combination with the development of our intellectual capabilities, give infinite combinations of cultures much more valuable than our own so-called culture. In general, we believe that our technological civilization is the last before the others that preceded it. The Hyperboreans, for example, had a developed culture, and indeed with characteristics that many of us would consider magical. Iamblichus, Herodotus, Pindar, and others wrote that the Hyperboreans, apart from being pious and modest, were particularly developed mentally and spiritually to the point of having transcended matter. And the fact that they transcended matter is demonstrated because they were immune to old age and diseases, because they held the arts in high esteem, and because they lived in absolute social harmony. Of course, we have the upper hyper-northern avarice meaning heavy, as opposed to they being light, not heavy, who can fly as on an arrow, in other words, a spacecraft, and after teaching Pythagoras left and cured the world's diseases. Please leave your comments concerning this. Thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.